Hello, everyone. Welcome to this channel. My name is Christiana Davidson, and I'm a psychotherapist, and I work in the area of childhood family dysfunction, particularly the narcissistic family system, and its impact upon us as adults, how we function in relationships, really. Now, today we're looking at, and I haven't given this a title yet, so maybe I'll come up with one by the end of this video, but the gist of it is all about how emotional regulation is the name of the game when it comes to the narcissistic family system. So, just before we dive in, if you're interested in having some support, um, please reach out to me. My website is www.delightinyou.com. And the light behind me is a symbol of that. This process is about discovering that light within you, your authentic self, that's here to shine out. And today we're looking at how that light gets pushed down, snuffed down, in order to cope. Okay, so let's jump in here. So the narcissistic parent, if you had one, is often dysregulated. They're often fluctuating in their emotional state. So how do they remedy this? Well, they use other people. That is narcissistic supply, as I'm sure you've heard. The narcissistic parent uses other people for supply, which is attention and admiration. So when I say other people, uses other people, if you were the child of a narcissistic parent, you are those other people. You are the closest other people. So you learn that your role in life, in relationships really, is to be a source of emotional regulation for others. Now, what do I mean by emotional regulation? Well, with a narcissistic type, it's to ensure that they are feeling high in self-esteem. So, if we put that together now, if you were the child of a narcissistic parent of whatever degree, you learned that your role was to ensure that your parent was kept in high self-esteem. That is what equaled your safety in the family system. So, in other words, you learn in order to be okay, you have to manage other people's feelings, other people's emotions, other people's self-esteem. It's your job to bring up other people's self-esteem in order to feel emotionally safe, emotionally regulated yourself. So you need at all costs to keep other people, important people in your life, feeling good about themselves, particularly narcissistic people in your life. I mean, if you look at your life at the moment, if you have come from a narcissistic family system, more than likely you're going to be surrounded by narcissistic friends, at least one within your group, two or three even. You'll be surrounded by them at work, usually a narcissistic boss. You might have them in your relationship, your personal romantic relationships, tending to attract the same types. This is because you are trained, you have the skills actually to know how to regulate a narcissist. And so it's your familiar zone. It's where you feel that you are able to be the person that they need. It's and that's what they find attractive in you is your ability to tune in and be willing to put their happiness, their good feelings about themselves, their self-esteem as your highest priority. You're willing to abandon yourself in order to do that. So you put your own plans, you put your own opinions, you put your own um, financial needs, you name it, you're willing to go to any lengths in order to make keeping their esteem high your number one priority. And of course, this is exactly what you did with your narcissistic mother or father. You're replaying that same pattern of tuning in to when their self-esteem drops or when they get angry or they're dysregulated to some degree. That's when your kind of alarm goes off and you kick into action immediately because you've learned that it is your job. It is your job to respond to that dysregulated call of your narcissistic parent. The thing is, this sets up a pattern in adult relationships where you're acutely aware of the reactions of others in your life, so like your friends, your colleagues, bosses, and you tend to believe that you've got to ensure that they are happy with you always. You can never allow them to be angry with you. You can never allow yourself maybe to do something displeasing to them or something that leaves them feeling lowered in self-esteem. Maybe, to call out something that's perhaps not a positive trait in them. There's an innate terror at thinking of doing that, even just thinking of it is terrifying because your safety depended on your parent feeling happy. Your emotional regulation, your peace, your calm, your sense of safety depended on your parents being happy and high in esteem. So often what happens is, as adults, and we learn this in childhood as well, when that alarm bell goes off and we kick into action or we realize we've said something to upset them, well, we've got to rescue the situation. That we believe that's our job. And we dive straight in, often taking the blame on ourselves because that at least then we can show them that what we said or did wasn't intentional, or it wasn't personal, or it wasn't meant to ever hurt them or make them feel bad, ever. That's never the intention of the child of a narcissistic parent. That would be the last thing on their in their modus operandi. So often I find clients that have come from these dysfunctional families, they end up constantly apologizing. If anybody is slightly annoyed with them or shows a negative reaction to something they say, they want to rush in and just apologize and ask the other person, what have I done? What did I do? What shouldn't I have said? They go to their friends. Oh, I said this, and they replay the whole situation and say, what do you think? Where did I go wrong here? There's this need for control of other people's reactions, but not just anybody's reactions. It's the narcissistic people in your life. Those are the ones that you want most of all, to keep regulated, to keep in high esteem. When it's not a narcissistic person, you're less likely to feel that drive. So that's one way that you can perhaps sort of just ask yourself in your life, who is it that I'm most wanting to keep pleased with me or to keep high in esteem? Who would I feel terrified about if I said something that they might interpret in the wrong way? That could be a sign of potential toxicity. So how do we overcome this managing people mode of being? Well, it's not easy, but the way is clear. It's simple. It's to stop doing it. It's to catch yourself the moment that you're worried about hurting somebody else. Hurting somebody else by being truthful, by being yourself, by adapting your behavior and becoming small. That's a sign that you're operating from the old you. What you need to do now is to allow God or the universe to bring you situations in relationships where you have to risk saying something or putting in a boundary or saying no or not saying something pleasing to somebody, and then sitting with those feelings of terror, of fear, of self-loathing that will come up, and just allowing them to be, but then also allowing you to go through those most difficult feelings. And the funny thing is, many of my clients discover that when they don't jump in with those old learned behaviors of apologizing and taking on the blame themselves, and there's a sense of just being able to be sort of like have a weight lifted. It's a relief that they no longer have to carry the burden of other people's moods. They no longer have to be supply. And at the end of the day, that is what you're here to do. If you've come from a narcissistic family and you want to heal, you've got to stop being supply. And supply is emotionally regulating others. I hope that was helpful. I didn't use much of a script tonight, so many of my notes rather. So I hope it made sense. Like I say, please reach out if you're interested in having some support. I have countless testimonials now of people who have really benefited from the course that I offer, but I also offer one-to-one talk therapy. I do have a spiritual element to the work that I do, and it's proving very powerful. So do reach out, and until then, take care. Bye now.